Right, so your first ever lesson, you're a new teacher, you're preparing to meet your first ever student. It is a nerve-wracking moment. We've all been there. Every teacher has to go through it. How do you prepare for that first lesson?
Yeah, so it is something. Inevitably, people are a little bit nervous. I certainly was when I taught my first lesson. But there are some key things to remember there. So, the first thing is don't try to cram too much into that first lesson, or any lesson actually. And sometimes I think teachers want to impress their students. You know, look what I can teach. Look how much I can teach you. But if you do that, you run the risk of overwhelming the student.
And so I guess that's a particular danger for new teachers who are worried because there's that big fear. I'm going to run out of time. Oh no, sorry, I'm going to run out of things to teach, and I'm going to be sitting there thinking, oh, what do we do now?
Exactly, yeah.
But that never actually happens in
No,
reality.
it doesn't. It doesn't exactly. So don't cram, but at the same time, do try to ensure you teach your student something.
Right. So don't just chat.
Exactly, yeah. So the first lesson, there probably will be quite a lot of chat. So you will be speaking a lot to your students and getting to know them. And that's really important. That'll really help build rapport as well. But as you're speaking to your student and you're finding out about their interests, why they're learning the language, it's a really good idea to make a note of some errors you hear your student
Make a note of some errors. Why would you do that?
So as you're speaking, if you hear maybe they mispronounce a word or they use the wrong tense or the wrong word somewhere, just try writing it down. So the best place is a Word document, for example. Make a note of a few things you hear. And then after you've done those speaking activities, you can look at those errors with your student. You can actually screen share that document and look at them together. And then you can correct or you can elicit those corrections from your student, and that's kind of where the teaching happens there.
Okay, so you're building rapport, you're getting to know them, but you're also making a list of things they say that aren't quite right so that you can show them corrections later. I guess so how does preparation fit into that then? Because you want to prepare, but then you don't know what's going to come up.
You can't necessarily prepare for those errors in that situation, but you can certainly prepare for those get to know you activities, those speaking activities you do. So one of the best bits of advice I got when I started my teacher training is to think it through. So think about the lesson, think about the stages of the lesson and exactly what you're going to do there and what hopefully your student's going to do as well.
So you're doing this in advance, so you're imagining what you being at different stages of the lesson that you've planned and then playing that out in your mind?
So rather than just write something like, I'll go through the answers or I'll tell the student what to do, think that through a bit more carefully. How are you going to do that, you know? What are you going to say to give those instructions? What language will you use? Will you give an example to the student? All of those things, if you think it through in the planning, it should go a lot more smoothly.
Fantastic, yeah. And I guess that preparation is not just limited to the planning of the lesson. There are other things to prepare as well.
Absolutely. So being organised is really important here. So be early for the lesson. So be ready to go. Check the tech, check things are working. Make sure you have all the documents that you want to use or show in the lesson open as well.
There's a lot that can go awry there, isn't there? So, your microphone doesn't work for whatever reason. If you don't want to be scrambling around to find a Google Doc in front of the student, to have that already.
Have that already.
And I guess that puts you at ease as well when you're going into it.
And your student as well. Your student will feel more, if you're relaxed and things are going smoothly, your student will be more relaxed as well. Another way to put yourself at ease and your student, and this sounds obvious, but smile.
Smile.
Remember to smile. When you are thinking about so many different things at once, it's very easy just to kind of settle into that kind of expression.
It is interesting that because it sounds like a piece of silly advice. Of course, we should smile, but I guess that often things that you do naturally as a person, when you go into teacher mode, you stop doing without realizing, I guess.
Exactly. So smile and accept the fact that things will sometimes go wrong in your lesson. You know, however much experience you've got, things will go wrong in your lesson, and that's okay. You know, don't worry about it. It happens.
How do you think students tend to think about things that go wrong? When things go wrong for you as a teacher, what's going through the students'
Well, quite
mind?
often.
Are they thinking, oh, you're so unprofessional, I'm going to fire you? And
Very unlikely. Most of the time, the students don't even know. The thing is, you've spent a long time planning your lesson, you've thought through those things really carefully, and then you realise, oh, I've missed that instruction, I've missed that activity. Unless your student is sitting with a copy of your lesson plan, they won't even notice. And if it is something a bit bigger and they do notice, they know you're human as well. So it's not going to be an issue.
I guess it's important for you as the teacher to enjoy that lesson as well, because it is in the lifespan of in the career of a teacher, isn't it? It's an important moment, that first lesson.
Absolutely. And as you go on teaching as well, you should enjoy it. Absolutely. That is fundamental. And if you enjoy it, your student will enjoy it.
I guess looking over the long term, we know that things are not always going to go completely right. Things are going to happen, but then you learn to teach over the course of dozens, hundreds, even thousands of lessons over the years, and that's how you develop as a teacher. So it's fine if things do go wrong along the way, because guess what? You learn from those things as well.
Exactly. And you never stop learning as a
You never
teacher.
stop learning, that's for sure.